And how did you figure out kind of pricing in the early days as well? Like, I think it's a really unique opportunity talking to you because I think you're a lot more fresh on your new firm journey than a lot of kind of the other people who might be a couple of years further along.
Mm.
So when you're kind of launching this firm and you might be like offering some services for the first time, what was your like model in determining pricing?
Yeah, at first it was like, all right, I'm going to kind of carry over the pricing that I was using at the firm that I was just working at. So it was like, okay, uh, this seems to be working well. I'm going to just continue it. And then all of a sudden, there's there's a lot of work in front of me now that I need to do. And I was like, oh shoot, like uh, I need to raise my rates because too many people are meeting with me to work with me at this price rate. So I'm going to raise the rate because I
Hmm.
advertise my tax return minimums on my website. Not many
Right.
firms do that, and so I would raise the rate, and then that would slow down the the amount of people meeting with me, new client
Hmm.
meetings, and so that's good. And then like I would raise it again when too many people were meeting with me, and then I'd raise it again and again and again and again. So I started around 450 for a minimum tax return as a basic tax return. Could just have a
Hmm.
W-2. Now it's $1,200. And so
Oh
as
wow.
you as you get more clients and you fill up your capacity, you start to really realize that you can't work all the time anymore. Like there's no space. Or you just want to work less and you need less clients. So now I use
Yeah.
pricing as a way to throttle the demand, and
Hmm.
I'm actually working with less clients now than uh, 2021, I think. So,
Okay.
but I'm making double the amount of money. So
Yeah.
that goes to show you how price increases really helps manage the demand. The only thing is, uh, the mistake that I made that I would do over from the beginning is not raise my rates more methodically. So it's more
Okay.
just like I am dying and I just want people to stop scheduling meetings with me. I still want to add new clients, but I just need to have less new client meetings. Versus, I think I would be more methodical and be like, okay, I've signed on 10 clients. I'm going to raise the price this much. I've signed on another 10 clients. I'm going to raise it this much. Because up until or in 2022, I started to really crack down on, okay, my rate's now this, and I have all these clients paying this amount,
Yeah.
which is a lot lower. And I was like, uh, I this is not fair for my family if I am working with these clients, spending this much more time, a set amount of time with them when I could have less clients and making the same amount of money and spending more time with my family.
Yeah.
And so I basically sent out 30 to 40 emails to clients to be like, hey, here's the new rate for you. And it was, anywhere between like a 40 to 200% increase for a lot of these clients. And
Hmm.
a lot of people left, which was the goal. It stinks that they left, but a lot of people left.
Yeah.
And I ended up making more money the following year still,
Hmm.
even though, let's say I lost half of those clients. And then 2023, this last year, I did the same thing with a less amount of clients because I didn't have as many that, the market rate versus what they were paying wasn't, you know, that list got smaller because of what I did in 2022. And then all the clients that uh, I that were kind of problem clients that caused the most pain for me, they left. because of those price increases. So it was like a win-win all
Yeah.
around. And now I have more capacity to add on new clients, and people are still scheduling meetings with me at $1,200 price rate. Like,
Yeah.
it's wild. But, I mean, it is tax season, so there's more demand right now. But like, I think preparers get stuck and never raising their rates, or firm owners get stuck for for some reason. I don't know. They
Yeah.
just, there's something inside of them that they can't raise rates. It's a big emotional toll on you to do it. It's weird. It's easy to say, oh, just raise your rates, but to actually send that email telling someone and like fearing the response is like, it's hard to do if, depending on type of person you are.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
have to
Yeah.
go through that over and over again. Sorry, I'm on a big rant, but
No, I think this is fantastic. Like, I think, again, behaviorally, I think a lot of accountants are very conflict averse, and it's really hard to do this. And I think a different avenue a lot of people would have gone in your shoes is, oh my God, I'm so swamped. I guess this taps out at 120K of gross revenue, and I now take on no new clients because I'm so swamped, right?
hmm,
Whereas you've doubled from there just by having these proper business practices in place. And it's time wise is probably not a lot to actually have these conversations, but it is very, very difficult. So
hmm,
similarly, like I had kind of when I was at Deloitte, I was on like the crypto tax team. So after I left, I took on a bunch of crypto clients.
hmm,
And without really growing my client list, that went from like a $6,000 or $7,000 a year business to like I forget what exactly, 13 or 14. And I'm handing it off this year, but like it doubled without really taking on new clients. Um, or without actually growing client numbers,
hmm.
and actually like one client turned out and someone else came through, and I didn't really want to add more work because it was a side hustle and I had this website going. And so I quoted him something where I was like, what am I willing to give up my like Sunday evenings for? And he said, yeah, no problem, this is great, I'm looking forward to working with you. And so I was like, you know what, fine, cool. Right, so instead of turning people around, you could actually just have that conversation with yourself of like, what will I work through a weekend with a smile for? Like
Hmm.
that's your rate, because I don't really have time for this. And it, it worked out tremendously because
Yeah.
that was now my new favorite client, right? And yeah, and sure, you keep, I had the one legacy client who was my first one who
hmm.
I was underbilling pretty significantly, but like other than that, like I was having those conversations every year with everyone going like, hey, like, I'd love to keep working with you. Unfortunately, I can't keep up with demand. Therefore, this is where that's going to land. And
Hmm.
it's good for people to hear these conversations where you're
Hmm.
saying, yeah, I raised my rates on everyone, and like it
It
didn't
still worked out.
ruin me. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's really hard to do that when you first start. So it takes a
yeah,
lot of guts to be able to do that if you're not on a good financial footing. But once you do hit that mark of like, okay, I've hit a set revenue where set amount of revenue is going to come back every
yeah,
year, and you can cover all the expenses that you need to live and support your family if you have a family. And once
yeah,
you hit that point, you can start being a little more reckless with who you work with and what you charge, because now you're kind of, you're set almost, and you can't, but you can't really do that in the beginning because there's too much unknown. You're like, okay, I don't even know who's going to work with me, or am I going to get enough clients for this year to live off, or there's so much
hmm,
unknown. You can't operate that way, even if you have someone like me saying, no, it's going to be okay. It's still really hard to be able to do that. So I think more like methodical price increases after a set amount of clients would probably work work really well. And
yeah,
you really just have to keep refining your pricing and your pricing with your clients, and you really have to set that expectation up front to make that conversation easier, to have that expectation with when clients join you, like, hey, I'm growing, the prices now might not be the same in a couple of years, and so
mhm.
just know when I hit you with a double price increase, it's not it's not you, it's me, and that's just the way it is. Supply and
Yeah.
demand,
Yeah.
and keep it rolling.
Do you have a timing where you usually have those conversations? Is it like right after you filed, or like during the slow time?
I've been doing it in like October time frame. So after
Okay.
all I, after all the returns are done, during tax season, I make a note. I have a spreadsheet basically where, like, okay, this is what they're paying now. This is what I want them to pay next year. And
Hmm.
I get, like, I'll write some notes like, okay, this client is, driving me nuts, or this client's super unorganized. And even though they're paying a lot, I don't know if it's worth it, because
Yeah.
it takes a whole day for this project.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to get rid of a client because their project is just too complex for the pricing that you're at. And you know you could have a project throw you off really bad that takes up so much of your capacity, and you didn't price right,
Yeah.
and it's just not a good fit anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, good on you for doing all of that.